Okay, you guys, good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Hold on a second, you guys. Okay, I'm back. I just don't get, what part men don't get pertaining to women who are opting out of these systems here. And it does not matter who's at the top of these systems, whether it be the system of white supremacists or whoever's controlling the top. 4B women like myself, we completely understand that the programming runs deep with you men, that you have been conditioned very heavily under the system to think, live, and breathe the patriarchal system. And, I don't know what this weird obsession is with you men, especially you black men, who is just obsessed with submission. Women, and I had a panel with a friend who, and this is the other part that confuses me about, you men who say you're going your own way, but you're doing countless live streams about women. You're talking about women. Men who are going their own way, they're not focused on what women are doing. They're living their best lives. They're not in the DMs of where women are at. They're not in the spaces of where women are at. They're focused on what women are doing. And what I've noticed about you black men who sit down and you have so much to talk about black women, you're the men who say you're going your own way. All of this complaining you men have been doing, all of the mansplaining you men have been doing. Well, 4B is here. 4B is here to take care of all that. You know, you men don't have to worry about the child support. You don't have to worry about the single mothers anymore. Um, you black men still are what this narrative about, black men don't have children with black women. I pulled up the CDC reports. 47% of black women are single mothers within the black community. These women are not out here having babies by themselves. Whether they're having babies with the same black man or different black men, it does not matter. They've had a child with a black man. And you black men refuse to take accountability. You refuse to take accountability for creating these single mothers and abandoning them. And then you get into these movements called Red Pill or MGTOW or Passport Bros, and you get online and you're bashing black women. You're bashing the women who have gave you children. And then you go overseas and you have children with these women over there. And then this degenerate cycle continues. Because it's literally what you passport bros are doing. You're into the ex tourism. You're creating outside families with women of different cultures over there, and then you're coming, back and forth from country to country, just creating a degenerate cycle. And it's the same thing for you black men who are red pill, who say that you're done with women here in the West, but you're not done with women in the West because you're still harassing and nagging black women. You're still trying to latch yourselves on to women. And it's like you men don't understand that we're not going back to these old systems that you're trying to hang on to. Nobody's going back to the 1950s. Nobody's here to be your servant. Nobody's here to be your servant. Nobody's here to serve you. If you can't treat women like human beings, then you don't deserve to have access to women. How about that? And this is what women have been saying for the longest. We're not here to serve you. We're leader into a system that does not respect, like, or even see women as human beings or equals. And yet you men still continuously keep with the narrative about, you know, submission. Anytime I hear a man talk about submission, I immediately get red flags. Anytime that I hear a man talk about 50-50, I immediately get red flags. Anytime I hear a man talk about you must obey and listen to me, immediately red flags. That there are just some women out here who don't want anything to do with this system. And that's the part you men need to grasp and understand, because I was on this panel last night for over 3 hours explaining to a black man why 4B is here. And I think it's an amazing thing. I think it's going to clean up the black community tremendously. And the reason why, because black men, we've heard you guys complain so many times about black women and having your children and these boys that we have. I don't have any children with you black men. We've heard it so many times about, yeah, because when you guys have our sons, you ruin our sons. They become feminine, they become down low, they become gay. But you never address the fact of why many of you are not in the home with your children. Why do you not have good, healthy co-parenting relationships with your sons? Not more so because of your baby mama or your ex-wife. It's merely for the sanity and the vulnerability of your child, so that they are not exposed to trauma. It's very clear and apparent that most of you do not care about your children. There should be a law. There should be a law that makes it illegal for you men to have children with women and neglect them and abandon them. Because you are not good human beings if you do this to your children. And this is why we're seeing this decline in the birth rate. This is why we're seeing so many women opt out of marriage, because women are at a place where happier not even being attached to any of you. And there is no one exception. 4B women are not solely, especially black women, we're solely not just coming after black men. No, we don't want anything to do with any of you men. So this individual was very misconcepted. He thought that this was something that was solely exclusion of black men and black women are just going to go get with white men. No, no. Before big women don't want any man. We don't want any man. We don't want to. We don't want to deal with any man under this system. We don't give a damn what kind of man you are. We don't care. We don't care. You can be a good man, a decent man, a bad. We don't care. We don't care. This is not about exclusion or, oh, we're just gonna go 4B for black men and we're just gonna go give it to white men. No, this isn't what that's about. Go ask the divestors about that, because you're still making the videos, you're still talking about 4B women. You may not be calling us 4B women, but you're still talking about the single and child-free women. You're still talking about the ball spades types of women. You're still talking about the women who have so-called hit the wall. That's where your fixation is. So you're still talking about us, even though you say you don't want us. No, what it is, and many of us don't want you, and you're having a hard time with rejection. And unfortunately, this is about control. This is what the whole entire patriarchal system has taught you, men. Let's just control women. Let's control women. This is what we must do: control and dominate women. Control, and no one wants to be dominated, and no one wants to control. Why can't you men just respect the fact that there are women out here who are not interested in these societal standards that have been put upon society? Why can't you men just grasp that and understand that? This is not about, oh, you're just going through trauma. Oh, you're just bitter. Oh, you just hate men. Oh, you haven't chose the no, 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 and no. If a woman had the choice to choose being chained and balled to a man versus her career and her money, what do you think that woman is going to choose, men? She's going to choose her freedom, her career, and her money. Okay? She's not going to give up her career and her freedom for you. And that's the part you men don't get. That's the part you guys don't get. No sound, reasonable woman is going to want to be chained and balled to a man and give up her own freedom and peace and sovereignty. So now that women have made this choice to choose themselves over you men, now you're having a hard time understanding why women are not choosing you. And you men haven't given women anything. You haven't given me any rights. Women have had to get out here and fight for our rights. And we fought very well. And this is why I absolutely love Bell Hook books. This is why I do what I do on my channel and why I do the content that I do. An advocacy for liberation and sovereignty of women, especially black women. This is something that I've been doing over here. This isn't something that I just woke up one day and decided to do and become. Why? Because I understand the nature of you men. And I'm not interested in continuing on in an outdated system that does not benefit me as a black woman. And nothing about this system benefits black women. I don't give a damn what it is. It can be called the patriarchal system. It's a system that is very harmful to men, women, and children. And yet you men have, like I said, and you keep saying you're the victim under the system, but you're not doing anything to fight against the system and stand up for women. You're still hanging on to it. You're not doing anything. Clearly, you didn't do anything at the election because you wanted the system to continue. But what you men thought, you thought you were going to vote the way that you wanted to vote and then still turn around and have access to women. No, it doesn't work like that. That's what you thought. You thought voting for this current administration was going to give you access to women. No, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. And granted, we can't tell you how to vote. We can't tell you who to vote for. But what women can do, we can now choose who we want to deal with. That's what has happened here. We get to choose who we want to deal with. And the black women who made that stand against this system, we can also make the choice of not dealing with black men. That's just how it goes, men. But you voting the way I think the men are confused, ladies. I think that they thought that, okay, if we vote against this administration, it was going to give us access to black. No, no, no. It's not going to give you access to black women. That's not how that works. The women who have made the conscious decision that they're done with out here and they're done with the system, they're done with men based upon their own personal interpersonal experiences that they've had with you, that has nothing to do with 4B. It's led them to 4B, but it has nothing to do with that. You can't override decisions or conscious decisions that women have made. Because I oftentimes hear men say, "Oh, and you do this and you do that, just maybe try and maybe choose a different man." No, nobody. I'm not. And like I told this individual, I don't like restriction. I'm not the type of woman who wants to be restricted to a man. Anything chained and balled to a man, it's restrictions. I don't. I've already told you guys my rules over here. I don't live with men. I'm not interested in living with a man. I'm not interested in giving a man whoopee. I set the terms and the conditions on how I'm going to deal with men if I choose to deal with men. That's my rules, man. You don't get to create these rules for you and I. No, I create these rules for you and I if I choose to deal with you. And I've made the conscious choice that I don't want anything to do with you, man. Not romantically, not mentally, not emotionally, not physically, not spiritually, nothing. If you want to procreate with women and and have this nuclear family and all this here, because I have this other misconception thrown at me. Oh, you're against nuclear families. You don't believe in a nuclear family. I'm not against nuclear families. I'm against nuclear families that do not center women. I'm against nuclear families that do not treat women like human beings or equals. I'm against nuclear families that impose weaponized incompetence and abuse and misogyny and sexism. So if you are a man who's indulged in that type of rhetoric, then no, I don't support your idea of nuclear family. I don't support that for you or for her. More so her. I'm all about what makes women happy over here. I'm about what makes black women happy. Whether it's them choosing themselves, them choosing to date out, or them choosing to date within their community. Whatever they choose to do, I'm about their happiness. Why? Because this is a woman first channel. There's no centering men over here, men. There's no putting men on pedestals over here. If you want your phallus worship and you want your ego and all of this validated, you got to go to channels that do that. Crimson Cure channels, Shashere channels. I don't listen to those women. Those particular women hold no weight for me on a sovereignty path. Why? Because they teach black women how to connect with black men over there. I'm not here to connect with any man. So it's the same thing with Kevin Samuels. It's the same thing with Kendra G. Those particular content creators hold no weight to me, especially for women who have opted out of this whole entire system altogether. We're not even in the pond. We're in a whole entire lake separate from the women out here who are dating around and still pecking around for a man. So I think it's going to be a very interesting year over the next couple of years how everything is going to play out with men and women um, under this system. I think it's going to be quite interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting how everything plays out, you guys. And the men are getting desperate. They're getting unhinged because they're needing access to women so bad. They're wanting access to women so bad, despite they say they're getting their passports and they're going their own way and this and that. It men, it does not change the fact women get to select, women get to choose. And I don't care what you say, I don't care how you convince yourself that the 4B is not a real thing. And unfortunately, I blame a lot of women for getting out here actually representing the 4B movement. We don't do representations over here. We don't do leadership over here. We don't do women um who say that they're decentering men, that they're married to men. I've already told you guys where I stand with that. And no, you cannot decenter men and be attached to men. So if you think that you can decenter men and be married to men, I'm sorry, that's not accurate information. You don't represent women like me. And I'm so glad that there is no leader. I'm so glad there is no representation pertaining to the 4B movement. This is a sovereignty, independent path that most of us are taking. Because once you start putting leadership titles on certain people, they can misrepresent a movement. And I don't think the 4B is a movement. I think it's a conscious decision that most women have made pertaining to how they feel under the system, and rightfully so. So, what does this mean for you men out here who are still looking for wives and still wanting access to women? I don't know what it means for you, but I know what it means for women like me. We're done. We're done. You can't have a system without women. And where there's no women, there's no children that's going to follow. So the birth rate is telling me everything that I need to know about where things are going. The marriage rate decline is telling me where things are going. And that's it. Long as I have those two valid pieces of information, it's telling me one and two things, and both things are for a fact. For a fact, women are not having your children, and women are not marrying you the way that you think they are. Um, and I kind of want to feel sorry for you men. I really do, but then I don't, because you guys chose to continuously go along with the system instead of fighting against this system and actually standing up for women and evolving. And this is why all of this is happening, because you're not evolving, you're not growing, you're not doing the work, you're not doing the healing. You're just thinking that you're going to have access to women, and the women who have done the work, who have done the healing, who have actually evolved to where they're at. Why would they choose to be with an unhealed man who has not done that level of work and healing? That's what that's telling me. And I don't care how many times you men convince yourself that there are women out here who are not serious about the 4B movement. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I've been on this journey since the 2000s, okay? Way over 15 years, way longer than what I'm even saying on here. So I don't know, and this is not to convince or convey. Ask the men who approach me in real time how they feel about me. These men don't have access to me. They don't even get close to me. I don't even let them have access to me sexually. So there is no one exception rule. There's none of that. And it's not about, oh, if you meet the right man, you'll change. It's not even about that. I could have met the right man numerous of times. Nothing has changed. I just do not want anything to do with the system, or anything to do with submission, or any of these patriotic words that you men have convinced yourselves to think and believe pertaining to how you see women. Because when I hear words like submission and obey and listen to me and red pill and patriarchal system and monogamy, these are red flags. Oh, so y'all don't want toast? Oh, you open the cereal, that's what y'all get. Because I was going to do us some toast.
And hot chocolate?
Yeah, but you open the cereal, so that's what you eat.
It ain't no cereal in the bowl. We didn't put no milk in there.
Did you open the cereal?
No.
Okay.
It is open. Everybody's
So at the end of the day, you guys have chose these things. And the men still don't get it. They still don't get it. They're still with this, get it out here, let's continuously procreate and have access to women. But you have not done the work. You have not done the work. You have not done the healing. You men still don't get it. And I don't think you men even have the in depth to even understand that you don't get to have access to women like that because you want to. It does not work like that. And I'm so sorry. You can't grasp that. And this is why I don't really explain the 4B principalities to men because they'll never get it. And this individual never got it. He never understood it. He never understood why women are here. He doesn't understand that the majority of male voters voted for this indoctrination again. They voted for the misogamy and the white supremacy and all of this here. And so did you black men at 28%. You voted for this too at 20 something percent. You wanted this as well. You're following right along with the system. You're right on TikTok and YouTube. You've been using white supremacy talking points pertaining to black women. You still don't understand it. That the indoctrination runs deep, the programming runs deep. And this is everything that I've been talking about pertaining to, these systems. So I told you guys that I look at relationships very differently. I do not see relationships as anything of benefit for women. Less weren't marriage, less weren't having children.
We eating toast.
Okay. I don't see any benefit to that. I see no benefit in a woman having access to a man. No benefit. Everything is going to benefit the man. And I don't support it. I don't support marriages. I don't support the nuclear family system. I do not support women submitting to men. I'm not here to be chattel slavery. I'm not here to be any of these things for men, period. I'm never going to be your wife, and I'm never going to bear any more children. That's it. That's how I feel about the system. That's how I feel about relationships with men and women. It is not a natural system. It is a system or a structure that was put here to control women and children. That's how I feel about marriage. That's how I feel about religion. This is how I feel about women getting out here having their children. And even though I've had my experience in those areas, never again. Never again. So I think men are very threatened by women who have made this conscious decision. I think men are very challenged by women who have made this conscious decision. And this is why we're getting these underlying attacks and why men can't understand and why they're so bothered by the 4B movement. And I don't care if you men do anything to fix it. It's not going to change the fact there are women out here who are anti-patriarchy. There are women out here who are anti all of these things that you've been conditioned to believe in things. And for me, I've done a lot of programming. I've done a lot of unprogramming. I've done a lot of deconstruction. I'm not going back through that process again. And I don't care what you men say or how you feel or how you think. There are just some women out here who are just not going to go along with this anymore with you. Okay? We've just accepted that this system is never ever going to benefit women. And this black man, he was like, well, it's really non-black men who wanted this. It does not matter. All of you men benefit under this system. All of you men benefit under this system. You benefit from under this system. And let's be clear, black men, our relationships with you have not always been the best. So even if you did vote for Donald Trump, it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change anything.
Baby wants toast too.
It wouldn't change anything. Nothing's changing here. Absolutely nothing is changing here with how black women still view you black men. I think it's the level of betrayal. I think it's quite a bit of things to why women are at this place of really not caring anymore. You know, And I think until you black men take accountability for that, you're really not going to get much from black women in general. Mm-mm, you're not going to get it. So I just wanted to get on here because I literally went live until midnight last night having a discussion about this and getting this guy to understand where 4B women are at because oh yeah that water has sailed and that shit and he didn't even know I was 4B. He didn't know I was 4B. He had no idea that I was a part of the 4B movement. He liked them and shitted on himself when I got on the panel and explained to him exactly who the fuck I was. And I just talked down on a lot of his talking points that made no sense. And you know, he was just like, oh, I says, honey, I've been doing this since the 2000s. What are you talking about? There are women who are actually doing this and living the lifestyle that you men keep saying does not exist. I've met women in this space who have been to 4B since the 90s, okay? Since the 90s. I've met women who have been doing this since their divorces. And I don't know why you men think that younger women are in the movement. No, it's older women who are in the movement. Millenniums and Gen X's. I don't and Gen Xers, and some um of the younger women, Gen Z, Gen X. But I don't know what you guys have convinced you. You guys just are not understanding that yeah, there are women out here practicing this movement, whether you want to believe it or not. And they're in it and they're gonna let you know that they're not going to participate in anything that you have going. And no, we don't have to shave our heads blue or any of that. We're just not gonna deal with you guys. Um, I would advise no woman to deal with you men at all under this current administration, to be honest, especially having no reproductive rights, no human rights. I sure would not be having babies out here for men, especially under this inflation, the cost of living, all of it. That's just my opinion. Of course, women are going to do what they want to do. That's your choice. I personally wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I personally think women need to keep their legs closed. That's what I think. I think they should keep their legs closed. I think until this current administration is out, and unless we can see some actual work, I think that's what needs to be done. And I think that's what needs to happen. That's my honest opinion, and that's how I feel about it. So, I just wanted to get on here to talk about this because, hey, Snooks, good morning, Buka. My cat is like, what the hell? Yes, I want to go take her to go get her ears pierced. In Egyptian time, a lot of cats had their ears pierced. I don't know if you guys know that. I think it's so adorable. Um, they get their ears pierced. Cats, like at the top of their ears. I think that's where you pierce them at. So, yeah, I'm gonna go fix my kids' breakfast. This is my self care day, you guys. And men are still gonna find a way to include themselves and want to have access to women because this is all about control with the men. You still don't get it. Still don't get it. I think it's really cringy that you men just don't get it. I don't even think you have the in depth to even understand. Because when women are talking, you're not actually listening to women. You're not. You're just hearing women talk and you're listening to whatever you want to listen to. So I think time is going to tell. Oh, and he did challenge me. Oh, time is going to be the teller of everything. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if men honestly think I'm going to get off of my 16-year journey of celibacy and not dealing with them, you men have to be delusional as hell. The longer I go on this path, the better it is for my mental. Absolutely not. I don't know what has convinced you men that women, and they think women like me are a challenge. We're not a challenge for you men. Go challenge something else, like fighting against the system and communicating with other men on how we can be nicer to women. Not for relationships, just in society. You guys are just consumed in red pill and monogamy. Go heal and then come back and try to have a civilized conversation with women. Because what you guys are doing, it's not going to work. It's not working, men. Don't you see it? It's not working. Women are not going along with this anymore with you guys. We're done. We're tired. The end. So, I'm going to get off of here because I'm done ranting for the day. And all of these programs are shutting down, WIC and food stamps. It's going to get bad, ladies. You guys need to prepare, do what you need to do to protect yourselves. And get prepared under this system. Because they're slowly implementing Project 2025, little if you know it or not. They're slowly rolling it on out, and everything's kind of coming together at this point. So yeah, you guys definitely get prepared here. So you guys have a good Saturday, and be safe.